Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Today's video, we're going to be talking through all the books I hope to get to in 2025. Now, here's the thing. I am completely a mood reader. I've been trying to do vlogs where I, stick to a TBR. They don't seem to work for me. So this year is going to be all about the mood reading, but I do have some books here that I would like to get to in 2025. I'm hoping by making this list, it doesn't make me not read them. I'm hoping it motivates me, but if I don't get to these by the end of the year, I'm here to say that this is not a definitive, I will check these off. These are what I hope to get to. These are my 2025 hopefuls. So with that being said, I have quite the stack here. I will not be including any books that are going to release in 2025 because I will be doing a anticipated releases video. I think I'm going to do for the first half and the second half. So because I will have a anticipated releases video. I'm not sure if that will go up first or if this one will go up first, but it will include all the books I am anticipating and I will be telling you which ones I will pick up. This will just include books that are already on my TBR that I just really want to get to and prioritize in some fashion. And I'm not going to go into synopsises very much. Synopsis. I don't know how you say it, but I'm not going to go deep into what these books are about because for the most part, when I have a book on my TBR, I don't really read the synopsis very much. I like to just have a general gist of what I think it's going to be about. I really stop reading after like the first paragraph because usually I think it gives away a lot of things. So yeah, I'm not going to be going deep into what these books are about, just why I'm excited about them and why they're on my TBR. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first I have on the pile is Woodworm by Layla Martinez. I think this is going to be a haunted house, but I also feel like it's going to be kind of weird because the beginning just says, "The house breathes, the house holds bodies and secrets. The house is visited by ghosts, by angels that line the roof like insects, and by saints that burn the bed sheets with their halos." I have no idea what that means, but I'm very intrigued, and I really like horror novellas. Like, one of my favorite things to read throughout the year is horror novellas, and I'm very lacking on them because I read through them so much. So this is one of many horror novellas I think I want to get to in this year, and this one, the cover is one of my favorite covers. I think this would go on a favorite cover list for me. There's something about it that I find so beautiful, and I've heard good reviews on it, so I'm very hopeful about this one, and I think it's gonna be a little weird, so I hope it works for me. I'm very excited about this one. Next, I have Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. This is a sapphic fantasy romance that I think is more to the tune of like Emily Wilde's or the series I like by India Holton, which is not coming to me. I'll pop it up on the screen, where they're just kind of fun fantasy romances. So all I know is that I think this is a romance between a like high up woman, a society woman, and a witch, but I also know that this is got some like storytelling by a fairy, so I'm very intrigued by it, and I've heard good things about Alexis Hall. I think he had the Boyfriend material, and that was a contemporary romance, so I never read it, but I have this on my TBR and like a mystery, historical mystery that sounds really good by him, so I'm very excited to get to this. I really like these kinds, so I think I'm gonna really love it. Sorry if you heard that. My cat is doing something out there. So next I have a fun mystery that I'm looking to get to. I'm looking to do more fun mysteries in the new year, and that Several People Are Typing by Calvin Kasuki, and this is where someone gets pulled into Slack messages and everything's told from like Slack messages, and they're trying to like get out, and I've heard it's really funny and just like very reminiscent of the workplace, and if you've ever used some of those like Teams, Slack, those kind of like boards, it's gonna be really good. So I have high hopes for this one. It sounds really fun and funny, and it's just what I need in this year. So also, if you have more recommendations for fun, funny mysteries, please leave them down below. I'm begging. Then I'm going to talk about two in tandem, and that is Horror Store and The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I want to get to both of them, ideally. Now, this is a little spoiler, I guess, for anticipated releases, but there is a new Grady Hendrix out this month in January, and I want to read that as well. That's probably like the top one I want to read. But if I read both of these, I get his backlist done, and not that I like have to complete it right away, like I don't have to rush through, but I just would really like to. I've been loving reading his books, and so I want to get them all in my backlist. So this one is about a support group for girls that were a part of Final Girls, and I think people start killing them off. This is a horror store, which I think is like a haunted house, but like set in an IKEA essentially, and it just sounds really fun. There's like IKEA manuals and stuff to go through, and I think this will be fun. I think this was like his first book, so it'll be interesting to see like how his writing has progressed, and then I can officially rank my Grady Hendrix books. I know, you've been patiently awaiting for that. Next is another horror, and that's We Spread by Ian Reid. I've just had really good things about Ian Reid, and I picked up this one and Foe this year, and I haven't read either of them, and I've just been so intrigued. I think this has to do with like dementia, like being in a facility, and like I think it talks about like slowly losing your memories, but then also, is it real? Like, because I think maybe it's talked about, are they really losing their memories, or something in this like care facility going on? And that's all I know. Maybe that's a different book now that I'm reading this. I don't know. But it says he's tackling questions about what it means to make art. So I'm still down. I feel like sometimes you just get, maybe that's what Foe is about? I don't know. Where did I get that then? No, I do think it talks about aging and memory, but we'll find out when I read it. And if you know what it's about and you want to leave like an actual synopsis down below, I'd love to hear it. We've got The In-Between by Tananarive Due. This is another book of hers, another horror. I read The Good House and The Reformatory, which both made like my top books of the year. The Reformatory was my top 10 and The Good House was part of my honorable mentions. So this one, I really don't know much about it, but it's a shorter one, which I'm really intrigued because a lot of her books tend to be longer, so I'm interested to see how this one goes. She has more out that I definitely want to get to, so this probably won't be the only one I get to her. She has My Soul to Keep, which I think also sounds really good. So yeah, I like when I like an author just jump in the book and not know anything about it. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this one. So then I have 10 minutes, 38 seconds in This Strange World by Alicia Falk, and this is about a sex worker who I think she is dying in a dumpster at the beginning of the book, and she's like flashing back through her whole life up into this point, and I think we get different perspectives. But I've heard really good reviews about this, and I've been intrigued about it for a little bit, and so this is one of those literary fiction books. I don't tend to get to a lot of them in the year, but I'm hoping to do more of them because some of my favorite books have come out of the literary fiction genre. I just have to really figure out and hone what I like, and I think that this is going to be an example of something I really like because I found out from the stationery shop. I really like when you have a later in life part of the character and you flash back and you see their whole life, and so I think that this is going to do that, and I think it's going to be a hard read, but I think it'll be well worth it. So that I want to get to as well. And then I want to get to James by Percival Everett, which is a retelling of like Huckleberry Finn, but from James's perspective. I read The Trees and really liked it. It was such a good book. Also would be part of my honorable mentions. And so I want to get to this because I also really like retellings of books and how people can take a spin on things, especially because a lot of books set that are classics are not very diverse. Are we shocked? Obviously there are diverse classics, but just a lot of what we are taught to read in school are not very diverse, and so I really like that Percival Everett is like kind of taking back James's story. So I'm very, very interested to read this, and I can't wait. I really like his writing as well. I don't know if he has more out. I feel like he probably does, and I would definitely like to pick it up. Oh, jeez. Does he have more out? He has... Those are both books. He has a lot of books out. Wow. So I could read a lot of his backlist if I really want to. Then I have a book that everyone has raved about and I just hadn't got to it, and that's Yellowface by Kuang. I read Babel, really loved it, so I don't think anyone's going to be steering me wrong with Yellowface. This is a like literary satire about a white woman who steals her friend's manuscript, who is an Asian woman, and she passes away, and then she is selling it off as her own. Talking about like, I think Chinese history, and we just see her get into like more of a mess and her doing Yellowface essentially. And I've heard it's really, really good, and I really like satire, so I'm excited to get to this one. Then I have a couple of chunky fantasy books on my TBR that I just want to get through some of them and not be so afraid of big books. And I feel like the beginning of the year is always the best time to do that for me because I have the whole year to read all the books. So I'm not trying to meet end goals, you know? So I have A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.G. Perry. I've had this on my TBR for a while. I loved The Magician's Daughter. I read The Scholar in the Last Fairy Door this year by them, and I really liked that as well. And then there was a different book that I really didn't like. But this is set during the French Revolution, and I don't know much about it, except for it's a fantasy, historical fantasy, and I really like historical fantasy, and I like H.G. Perry. So I want to say there's something to do with, like, technology as well. That's all I know. I want to get to it, because I have the second book on my TBR as well, and I just would love to get some of these read. It's about 520 pages, so I feel like that's very doable, but it just looks bigger than it is. Like, it looks more intimidating, but I read like about 350 pages, so to do a 500-page book is not that. And then lastly, I would like to get to Nona the Ninth because I have loved this series so much, and I know that there's supposed to be Alecto the Ninth, and I think that should come out soon. Hopefully. I'm not 100% on that, but I would like to be caught up with the series if it does come out, and I just really like reading the full series. I don't like leaving, especially series like this where you kind of need to remember what was going on in the other ones. I don't like leaving them. A lot of like mystery series I can leave because it doesn't really matter, things wrap up. Series like this I like to continue right away, and it's been a little bit since I read Harrow the Ninth, and I love to get to it. I've heard it's more confusing though, so I've been a little intimidated. So there you go. There's some of the books I hope to get to in 2025. Please let me know what you'd like to get to in 2025. Are there any books that you feel like also I should read in 2025 that I haven't got to yet? So if you'd like to leave a book stack emoji if you don't have anything else to say down below, or you just want to say hi, I'd love to see it. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.